Hey, it's Dunstan, it's video time, and this one is not for you if you've got your shit together every moment of your life. If you're living your life on purpose, you're doing what you love, you're helping people, you're shining in every moment, then you don't need to watch this. For the rest of us, I don't know, if you're anything like me, you probably notice that sometimes you're bang on track and sometimes you have moments where like the light bulbs come on, and then for a lot of the time maybe, you know, it feels like a bit of a struggle, or it's not quite flowing, or whatever. So yeah, so what I want to talk to you about today is about feeling uncomfortable. But first up, I want to tell you a little story. So once there was a man who went out in the garden and he saw a little caterpillar that had gone into one of those chrysalises where they transform. And the caterpillar had transformed and was in the final stages of becoming a butterfly with beautiful wings that could fly around. Now, the caterpillar, the butterfly, was struggling to get out of the chrysalis because it had to force its way out, and it was really struggling. And the man felt a lot of compassion and took pity on the little butterfly coming out of the chrysalis. So he nipped off into the kitchen, got a pair of scissors, and came back and started snipping a little bit of a snip here and there just to ease the butterfly's way out of its chrysalis. And he felt really good because he felt like he was helping. The next day he happened to be back in the garden and he saw the butterfly, but he's really disappointed to see that the butterfly wasn't flying around. The butterfly was on a branch, kind of like with its wings all kind of withered. And all of a sudden he realized what had happened, that the caterpillar's journey to becoming a butterfly involves a certain amount of struggle pushing its way out of the chrysalis, because that's what activates the blood supply to the wings and finishes off the job. And that, you know, this butterfly had been crippled by his actions, even though he thought he was trying to help. So the butterfly was standing there with withered wings and couldn't fly. And isn't that just like life, where, you know, I personally feel like I've just had a huge life change, changing from one country to another, and I felt like I spent a lot of time in a chrysalis, just like watching stacks of DVDs or movies, or just sleeping or resting and just waiting for the inner transformation to take place. And you know, I now feel like I'm starting to be, who knows if it's finished, but I'm starting to be ready to stand up and spread my wings out and fly, and for my dreams to start really taking shape. And just like the butterfly, now, oftentimes part of that process involves feeling a bit uncomfortable for me, and there's often times when I feel a bit uncomfortable. Now, I've noticed that when I see a group of people and someone in the group feels a bit uncomfortable, that oftentimes a lot of people around them will start trying to comfort them, well-meaning of course, like little kid starts crying and the adults are all like, oh, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And I see that little kid having that beautiful emotion moving through it start to shut that down and be like, oh, I mustn't cry. And I don't know, I've found for me that often my greatest moments of waking up, or insights, or realizations, or growth, or whatever you want to call it, have come just after some kind of discomfort. Either feeling really effing angry with someone, or feeling sad, or feeling rejection. And what I've noticed is if I can just stay with that feeling and feel it a bit longer, and not make it about someone else, and not need to be rescued, certainly not to blame someone or pity myself, to just be with the feeling, that often always actually, I think, it transmutes. This is messy work. This is not like, you know, meditate and think about rainbows and unicorns. This is shadow work, and I'm encouraging you to see if you can be with a little bit of discomfort. You know, I just got a bit from my motorbike and speaking with a guy about track racing, and me as a man, I like to get out and find my limit and grow and experience the world and push the limit and go a bit past the limit. And I want to go and do a track day and ride a motorbike really fast around corners. He said there's even a jump. And so I'm excited to push that limit and go further and face my fears in that physical sense. So what if people did the same thing emotionally? Personally, I believe that that's one of the biggest things that keeps people locked in fear and stops us from living our full potential, is that it's culturally not acceptable. It's a real taboo to feel discomfort. So people don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want other people to feel uncomfortable. So we do whatever we can. Well, I don't do it anymore, which is interesting. But people around me expect me not to make them feel uncomfortable, or they expect, people just don't want to feel uncomfortable. They want to get it off them and say, oh, no, I just want to go back to being like, but what if discomfort was just, what if you were like that butterfly wanting to burst out of that chrysalis? What if you're ready to fly? And what if on the other side of that discomfort or feeling bad, what if you could go through that? What if you could stay with that and bust out on the other side with your wings open, flying like a butterfly, just poof, like that? So I want to know what you think of my message. I want to know if that makes sense to you. I want to know if you've got an example, and I'd love to continue the dialogue. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm going to sign off, and I will catch you later. Ciao.